God's holy day. God's holy day. You will see in the course of my message how it all fits in with faith. In the creation story, we discover that God set aside one day of 7, the final day, and he called it the Sabbath. It was going to be his day of rest. I mean, I've never been able to work that out, how God needs rest. He must have felt tired. Anyway, that was his day of rest. And then this would become God's holy day. It became so important to God that when he gave 10 commandments to Moses, that one of those commandments related to the Sabbath day. That they needed to keep holy God's holy day, the Sabbath. And so that's really, when you think there's only 10, and one of them is devoted to the Sabbath. I mean, alongside of you shall not kill. So it is pretty important. But what we find when Jesus turns up, that he starts to unlock the Sabbath as God's holy day. You can see that it doesn't mean as much to him as what it meant to the Pharisees and to the Jews. And even when he healed on the Sabbath, and he got a lot of criticism because of that. But that was not a problem for Jesus. And when he was questioned about it and criticized about it, he just replied, "The Son of Man is also Lord of the Sabbath." So he's placing himself above the Sabbath in what he's doing. So this is already a bit unsettling, because this was one of the pillars of Judaism, was the Sabbath. And Jesus comes and says, "I'm the Lord of the Sabbath. I'm higher than the Sabbath itself." And then we get to the Apostle Paul, and he totally dismantles the Sabbath. He says this in Colossians 2, verses 16 and 17. We're not going to project that verse up on the screen, but you can take a note of it. Colossians 2, 16 and 17. Paul says this: "Let no one therefore judge you concerning eating or drinking, or concerning a feast, or a new moon, or the Sabbath. These are the shadow of things to come, but the substance or the reality is in Christ." Amen. So Paul goes straight in and says Sabbaths no longer need to be observed. So isn't that good? Aren't you glad about that? Someone ought to tell the Seventh-day Adventists. They haven't understood that yet. Perhaps they will. So here we are. We've been set free from what was so important, God's holy day, and now it's no longer God's holy day. Okay. You've got to get your mind around that. So as we continue to read, we discover that Christians would meet on another day than the Sabbath. It was the Sunday, the first day of the week. And they call this day the Lord's Day. And so they met because it was in relation to the day that Jesus rose from the dead. So it had great significance for them. And so that just evolved in that way. And so Christians tend to think that God has now moved away from the Sabbath and turned the Sunday into the holy day, because it's the Lord's Day and the early Christians met on that particular day. But thinking that Sunday's God's holy day has produced Sunday Christians. Did you know that?
Wow.
It's been a real problem in Christian history, is that Sunday Christianity has been instituted. It's nearly the kind of obey a law, that you have to respect the Lord's Day. And so out of that, then on that particular day, the Sunday, you couldn't play sport. Shops had to be closed. You put on your best clothes. You went to God's house because it's God's day, his holy day, you see. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can live like a pagan. That's not a problem, as long as on a Sunday you didn't play sport and you didn't go to the shops and you didn't just hang around in your pajamas. I'll get that on the way home.
Yeah.
You can be sure of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so God has not replaced the Sabbath with the Sunday. There you go. Did you know that? You wonder where I'm going with this.
Mm.
Okay. So